All right, everybody, let's get to it on a Thursday. 2 weeks in a row, we were kind of had some holidays. I was away, so it's good to be back. And next week, we got a whole bunch of things going on. I'm going to be joined by Mitch Ray next Thursday. We were going to try to do it today, but my schedule was too tight. Friday, we'll be with Miss Teen Crypto. I'll be over on her show. Check her out. She's really cool. She did an interview with Michael Saylor a couple of weeks ago. Pretty insane get, in my opinion. And we're gonna do another options thing. So check it out. For those that didn't get onto the options presentation we did last week, I know a bunch of you were here. Those that were in the chat, that are in the chat, that were at the options seminar, give me a little hype there in the chat of what you thought. And I think a lot of people really got into it, saw a bunch of new strategies maybe they weren't considering before, but it was really good. And we're going to do a follow-up option session actually in 2 weeks. And this will be a little bit on longer term options. Last time was about weekly options and a lot of the patterns and setups we look for there. So check that out. And everybody that subscribes or gets purchases HPC software, you guys get gold access for a month. And that would be the best way to join up. And the recording for that is on the gold members page as well. So if you're a new sign up, or if you purchased the program recently, I'm willing to send and share the recording. So let me know if you guys are interested in that. Contact me on the Discord. Get hooked up with us on harmonictrader.com, become a basic member, and then for everybody that's the quick review on that June 30 session, listen, everyone should be using the TradingView program, so get your free trial for 2 weeks to send your username to hpc@sr-analyst.com. And then the final note, the options charts that I was using, things like, let me see if I can find, I'll pull it up in a second. Yeah, I'll pull that up in a second. But I was using the eSignal platform. And anyone can try those. So anyone wants to try any of the platforms, you guys are welcome to do so. Check that out. Speaking of gold membership, we had Lady Violet. You were the first one in today. Today's our giveaway Thursday. So Lady Violet, you won a 30-day gold. I'm going to give away another gold membership, and then I'll give away a volume 3, which I haven't done in a while. So catch that. I think there's a bunch of stuff to get caught up on. Down day, no biggie. It's really one down day. Here you go. QQQ. Hitting up a bunch of real short-term patterns. No confirmation yet. We continue to grind in this zone. 360 is support. 385 is our minimum target resistance for this run. We're coming into earnings starting next week, and then the fireworks begin, at least for the summer. So what's going on, chat? Really good to be back. Like I said, I've been out of it. Kind of some limited sessions, but I needed a little time off. Mitch does 7 days a week practically. I don't know how he does it. I do 2 days a week, and I'm ready for a break after a few weeks. Big shout out in the chat. Carthago, David V, Daniel, Ivan, Justin, Mark, Evan, Miss Stephanie, welcome back. We're here Tuesday, Thursday, 12 noon Eastern. I'll go for about an hour. Anything setting up, like a midday setup here? Let's look at our 5-minute chart. Oh, check it out. QQQ. Trying to paste some patterns down here. Around 363.70 is the hop level. 365.45 is your XA level. We had an early morning dot and then not much follow through. This could be a nice little pattern, though, for into tomorrow's expiration. Maybe we get some kind of pullback or, something like looking down here. That's, I guess, around 364. I don't like the fact that we have a yellow bearish dot right now trying to develop. That suggests this should consolidate more. But maybe what we get is some kind of type 1 reaction. That's the cues for the midday. What about the SPY? S&P was down 50. That's nice. We want to see, listen, do not fear the corrections, please. You want to see this stuff pull back hard and fast. Let a lot of steam out within these corrective phases, pauses, and then we continue. I'll get into the big numbers in a second, but, nothing's really changed yet. A whole bunch of people want to call a bear market going to all-time new lows. I mean, after a day, 2 days? Come on, guys. These are the highs for 2023. That was Friday. Friday's closed at the high for the year. The quarter, the month, the week, the day. So you want pullbacks. Here's the daily for the SPY. Let's get the big targets. Actually, it's all about the weekly, quite frankly. Weekly, check it out. Okay. The big weekly pattern, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Most of you know. We've got the 886 run. For all the indices, that's our target. Now, today's title of today's session is Harmonic Pattern B points. I'll get to that also in a second of why. But really what you're looking for is that minimum shark 886 up here to complete and give you a pause. We are running into the exact 786 right there, the 786 retracement as we speak. That's all that is, harmonic pause. And, take a look. Let's clean this out. When we're at major retracement levels, especially your daily, weekly time frames, don't be surprised to see harmonic levels experience reactive pauses. There's the high to low range. 382. Looks like that. Little pause. 50%. Hit the 50. Kick back. 618. Right there. No real pause at the 618, which is interesting. You had the pause at the 50%. Broke out. 786 range is right there now. Inside few weeks, no problem. You could have 3 or 4 weeks inside. You got to hold these lows. 428 should be the continuation support for the eventual move. Look, 455 on the SPY. If it happens this earnings season or happens towards the end of the year, that would be our objective. Justin's saying that the banks, they's got problems. They have problems. FSLB spike in borrowing from next probable failures. Likely. Look, we'll look at the banks in a minute after we go through the SPY. But the crash scenario has failed people. The crash scenario dismisses longer term implications. And I'll be talking a lot more about this as we proceed into the fall. But you got to know, next year has got historical cyclicality, historical bullish bias all over it. I mean, 2024 presidential year, all of that, and then what comes after that type of cycle, especially with the decennial cycle of making decade lows in the second or third year of the decade. So we're early in these stages, and we want to wait for the pauses, pullbacks along the way. I mean, we've come an amazing amount just since the beginning of the year. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm just theorizing, and I want everyone to understand that even if we had a 382 retracement off the all-time low, I don't think so. I don't think that would happen, but that would almost be a 10% correction, would be practically normal. Now, here's the deal. I mean, this is why I say B points. Here's a monthly chart of the SPY, and this is we have not formed a B point yet, but what we are trying to think about into next year, and it's it really trying to project it forward, proper anticipation, probable schematics of structure, and anticipated kind of framework scenarios. Simply is that this has been a heck of a straight up run, and you're looking for some kind of a B point. Is it at an 886 or the all-time level? And then we pause and do a 382 down like that, and then set you up for some kind of deep crab run to a 1618. Is that what the longer term kind of structural possibilities could that line up? I mean, certainly this segment's already strong enough that once we crack through, and if we continue, I would qualify that as a 1618 extension, but that's going to take time. I mean, you look, pivot to pivot, inflection to inflection, you want to be anticipating kind of like what the total distance is here in terms of months. Let's go to the weekly chart. I think that's probably a better time frame because of relative to 2022's action. I think it's pretty interesting that when we go 30 weeks there, okay, at 30 weeks we'd already basically formed the bottom, And there's the confirmation. Going forward here, we're in another phase, 30-week phase. Okay, that just finished back in, what was that, early May? Tell me what we're doing here. You know, some little extra follow through, but that easy general 30 minimum cycle, okay, is starting to hit some higher levels that, you know, let's get a B point up here. I would have, it would actually fit in quite well with this W possibility framework formation. We know that this is really exhibiting more like a shark. Looks like this. We're connecting dots on the SPY, and you know, look, the Qs, the SPY, all of these, they're the big stocks. And if this trend remains intact, the rest of the market's going to hang in. You're going to have varying breadth of advanced declines, new highs, new lows. But let's just talk structure. I mean, that still is the general assumption, at least for now, where SPY, S&P 500, SPY 480, 475 generally, 4,800, 4,900 on the index. By the fall, or certainly by first quarter of next year, I think we make that run to new highs. So whatever happens in between this now and then, we're favoring the pullbacks as opportunities on the long side. Scotty, what's going on? Scotty's saying that gap fill 364.89 on the Qs, probably. There's been a lot of overbought readings recently, you know, but check it out. The other thing I'm looking at is we formed an overbought signal at the hop level off of that pattern on the Qs, and that was, or on the SPY, excuse me, with perfect check back. That was 442. Now, and then it came off and we have another bullish reading, high level. So like I said before, maybe 432 to consolidate as we grind higher. Even today is not as bad as it seems, because look, you gapped down today. You did fill, this is what Scotty's saying. He's, and I appreciate the comment. We're just coming back. Last week's gap up, kind of explosion, and then no follow through. Gap down. Right there is where you filled it. That's fine. And they're already buying it back this morning. Remember, we started today's session with the Qs having a nice setup. Did the SPY? No, the SPY did not. Let me see if it on the regular session. There's your regular session hours. Okay, check that out. You do need to check both. I mean, right here in the bottom right corner for TradingView, they automatically have that time frame. You can go real time to extended. I check both. But yeah, you're just back testing. Now, is that an island reversal? Gap up, gap down? That's pretty ugly. Let's see. I still say we got to make this run. The 886 run, that would be my preferred scenario with all of these. Go back to the Qs for a second. Look at this 5-minute. There you go. Oh, let's get back. Extended hour session. There you go. This crab, like I said when we started, yeah, there you go. It's going to go for the target one now. No rollover. Concerned with that HSI check back. No, you're blowing through. We still need a yellow dot, so you're 2 bars away. I'd look for something like this. Look, if we get this for today, maybe this is what you're facing into the close, and then you got to type 2 into tomorrow. Markets have been popping really nicely on Fridays. Probably a lot of the short covering. That's the Qs. Let's look at the top 5, if you will. Microsoft. Microsoft even up most of the day. It tried to knock it down a few times today. Yeah, up 345. And here's the big deal on Microsoft that everyone should be aware of. 338 on the weekly is the all-time 886. And here you go. We have, this hasn't changed either, like the rest of them. They started to form shark patterns. They all were, egging to go to the 886. So you're here. There's the 886 at 330. And now we have a crab pattern as well. We're already, above all-time new highs. I still say before any kind of major correction, we go and retest this hop level as high as 374.87. Take a look at the weekly again. Pattern just completed 3 weeks ago and just sideways. With every close higher than the last. With a reactive higher close, higher, well, except for 2 weeks ago. But until you can get a yellow dot, even amplified's yet to roll over, that's trying to, look, we're in this final stages of this big run. We kind of have one more push higher and then generate some signals. The other thing, look, until we break down or break this uptrend line, nothing really changes. And don't get me started on the monthly chart, because this is about as strong as it can be leading into the prior all-time high. What you need to see, if this is going to be a monster 1 or 2 months of continuation. And where are we? We're overbought, but we have to roll over on those monthly levels. This is going to be quite interesting. Quite interesting. Make a run all-time new highs. You have to follow through. Number 2 is Apple, which is probably the same boat, just moving a little more slowly. Look, monthlies hitting overbought levels right now. And here it is. We're looking for, is this going to be a 1618 to 220 on Apple? We'll know real soon. You need to see this thing continue now, or if we get an inflection, okay. Then it's not going to happen for probably more towards the end of the year or even into early January. It's either going to happen literally in the next month or two, or we push it all off to January. And same can be said for crypto. Benny's asking, when does the bull market start? I think a better question is, where does the bull market start? It's a great question. I mean, the real bull market, because the real bull market, in terms of harmonic measurements and how we want to be thinking about it, is an extension, is a new leg entirely. Like, this would have to be a new leg of the entire move. And we need to clear the prior all-time high. Here, one of the kind of comparisons of, say, new bull market or continuation of the existing decade-long bull market could be something like this correction in Apple, where you pause and now the real breakout occurs. I mean, this is also for something like Apple, which is a good case study, because look, if Apple's going to run, the market's going to run. You maintain the real strong exponential uptrend. And that's all last year was. Incredibly enough, was just a small pullback within the uptrend. So why not? Let's see. Number 3, I guess we can kick it up to Meta. Because look what Meta did. Finally hit 300, hit the 295 targets. And let all of these be major case studies for harmonic patterns, folks. We were assuming target 1. At 116, we were thinking 242. We hit 300 yesterday. And now what? Let's see how we close. I mean, obviously, we are at the kind of stretching it for this move. I think it's interesting, though. Look what Amplified's doing. Staying up there in the zone, expanding. That would need to stay up there for this to continue. And the other thing, just keep an eye on Meta. It has to come off that 50 level. You're at a real point here. Do we pause at target 2? Or do we go higher and go and hit the all-time 886 now? Like this. 886, 350 for Meta. That's still a possibility. Number 4, Nvidia. I bumped it down because it hasn't done much in the last few days. Pausing. Up there on your weekly chart. Is that done? 5 weeks? Grinding? I think the critical point is the close. Maybe this sets up a 3-week range and then a breakdown under 398, 395 would be a problem. But this could just be grinding higher until you get to earnings. Earnings coming when? Not till late August for earnings. And obviously big gap fill at 318, but that might be a while before we see that again. That's number 4. Number 5 could be, I'll give you a bunch of these. Let's say Netflix. Same type of deal. High level HSI there. And you're flashing a crab pattern on the daily. But this has, because of the high level HSI right there, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing stay up around 437, maybe 445 is current resistance, and 418 come back down. There's something there on the 4-hour chart. What is? Yeah, there's a shark currently on Netflix, but that looks like a type 1. Almost done. Not a bad setup there, though. 431 on Netflix. That's your 5-0 target. Maybe we go back higher. That is the kind of scenario I'm envisioning for the next 2 weeks. And maybe this 4-hour pattern and the 4-hour time frame is a good way to be strategizing this current pullback. Because I want to think about next week and into the end of July. Bearish divergence forming on the monthly RSI for Nvidia. APV said that. On the monthly. Let's look at Amplified, because I think you're going to see it more quickly on Amplified. This is our Amplified RSI. It hasn't rolled over yet. Has not formed yet. So the comment is potential bearish divergence on the monthly. It is, but it's early. And we could even come out of the zone and still have like a retest. But I hear you. I mean, look, if we're really going to do things, what happened in the last 3 to 6 months is only the first step. Okay? I mean, there's going to be a lot more to come if we're going to follow through. I mean, think of it this way. Look at, you go back like 2019. I know it looks skewed, but this isn't much different. The last 18 months, not much different than, 2018 to 2020. Corrective pullback, come down, explode. I mean, amazing. Form some monthly oversolds and go. Monthly oversolds and go. And you still haven't even registered any kind of overbought here on the top side. Sure, we'll look at Tesla because that's another one that hit the big targets. And here's your monthly. There's the weekly. And the weekly is what's I think is probably the most telling of all. Beautiful bat pattern. Now we're running up here. 295 is target 2. Still in effect. And even run that little micro accelerated trend line like that. You could squeeze up on it at about 295. That's the big test I want to see. You know, something that I mentioned last week and the week before, EV stocks in general. We looked at Rivian, and now take a look at Rivian. Okay, here's the Rivian chart. Brought this up. We were saying, you know, next retest under 14 or at 14 to 2283 is target 1. That's good. The other one was Lucid, and these all had patterns. All the EV stocks. There you go. Small pattern inside of a big pattern. Still in the zone. Maybe we'll come back for a type 2. Let's see. But I like that. I do like that longer term. The other one was Neo. And these are all big patterns. Still early. I mean, Rivian's been the one ripping, but looking at these longer term consolidation support. 1 second. Okay, thanks. Couple more. Some of the other related stocks. Here's ChargePoint. All those EV chargers. This is a type 2. All right, looking back on this retest. At 750 level. Some of these I've mentioned before. Plug. They all have patterns on them. You look left, they've got major patterns down here. They're just banging in their zones. Hop level at 760. There's confirmation, and that comes in around 920 or so. Still early, but these tend to consolidate in these zones for a while and then go. One more. It escapes me. What was the other one? Neo. Oh, here's totally bankrupt, low floater, speculative one. Nikola. And what's that? Some weekly dots here. It's a bankrupt. Didn't they declare bankruptcy? But there was something down here. My fault. Where'd it go? I had a crab down here. Don't know what happened to that. I had a crab pattern. I'll come back to that. Regardless, I think I like those. I like the EVs. And don't jump. Even something like Rivian, you're going to get plenty of time. So just get it on the radar. The other EVs, I think those are, you know, they will follow. But it's like that. 2283 is target 1 for Rivian. Write it. Couple more. Hey, what's up, Daniel? Daniel, speaking my language here with things like CLNE, Clean Energy Fuels. Yeah, looks like we are getting a lot of patterns from last year's corrective move. Like that. Yeah, CLNE. I've said this before. These could take months to develop. Just be aware of that. Months before you see any kind of major move off those weekly charts. What's that weekly look like? Hey, that weekly is a nice chart. There you go. Your 458. Anything under 435, I think, for that is a nice setup. What else do you have? Fry battery. I like that. Another weekly. Look at these patterns. This is exactly the kind of thing you're looking for. Long-term setup. consolidation. There's your 3-bar breakout clearly. And still early in that move because you're trying to go from 766 to 1071. The daily, yeah, pop and roll. But the daily, same patterns. Those are nice ones. Look, it's a place to be considering. I think we could see that cycle kind of wash out for a while, but these longer term patterns, at least they're there. You have some things to go on. What's up, Jewelry Affairs? GTII. I don't know what that is. Goodyear. No, Global Tech. I'd rather go with Goodyear. GTII. Yeah, okay. A low floater, as we say. A low floater, what's that? Under 5 or under $1. Low volume. Beautiful pattern. But this is the problem with these type of plays. Okay, don't be surprised if they take a long time to develop or really get moving. That's okay. I would prefer to be here at 88 cents right there with the yellow dot. And even off of that, it did nothing. Daniel JMIA. Yeah, this is a low floater. I haven't. Yeah, Jumia. Yeah, $3 stock. Again, it's a little late on that one. You know, big patterns back to back. There's better plays than this, folks. I think there are better plays. If you want to go for those low floaters, I would go with play some of those more heavily traded EV stocks, or when they perk up the battery plays, or things like Palantir. I still like that. It's putting in a daily. Here's Palantir, putting in a daily HSI trigger, 14 and change. I think this is more about the weekly chart anyway. Still think Palantir goes to 20. Does a 50% correction off, or 382, excuse me. 20. And then there's there's the crypto miners like Mara, yes sir, Thousand Mountains. Mara on the daily, hitting a deep crab at the moment. I think it's more like, for those, it's more about Riot. Okay, here's Riot, and tried to break out yesterday, filled the gap. Deep crab right here. We got to get above 1436 for that to really do things. But you've had a number of big patterns back to back. The bullish support, we've been in front of this for a long time. Still says 2016, and the weekly has a higher target one. This could be for next year. Really, literally, target one at 32.38 is something for maybe in a year or 9 months. That's what it's going to take time, but. And the other one, Bit Digital, that's made a lot of progress since January. Look at that. And we're looking for target one there. The other one was Costa Mooney. Always talked about this. Costa, I don't know if you're in here, but your Clean Spark. I think you're the one that brought this to my attention. Clean Spark. This one probably even has more to go than those others. They still need to get above the zone. Daily time frame, I know that's running into a bearish pattern at the moment. There you are. But if we clear, once we get past there, the next level is after this consolidation above 540, above 550. Then those break in, or break out, is a better way to say it. The one that I'm watching as well, I mentioned this last time, I want to pull back, overstock. Today's a pullback. Good. Keep your eye on this one. I haven't done anything with it. I want to see something develop, but like I said, That's kind of a first thrust move on the weekly chart. And this is also, interestingly enough, there's your XA level at 19. It's kind of tough to see this, but that was your type 1 in the last cycle, long-term cycle. It went to 100. Target 1 was 41. Now it came all the way back to 19. If you could get back to 20 or 19 longer term and retest that XA level, that would be a place to look for it. What's confirmation? Yeah, you're overbought at the moment. Just keep an eye on that one. I'm looking for those kind of things for the further we get out from this point forward, the closer we get to Bitcoin halving next year, the more attractive these become. It's just that simple. A couple of more. Jay, we got BTBT. I hope you're on that one. Simon, what's up? GE. I want to get over to crypto in a second, so let me wrap up on these. GE on a what? Daily, weekly? Monthly. Monthly type 2. I kind of remember that on GE. What was that? Oh, yeah. Well, there's GE. Yep, that's just like Overstock. Amazing. Look at that. That's pretty remarkable that GE has recovered that much, but it is a type 1. Come back down for type 2 at 41, and then bang. Now here we go. 107, maybe go to back to 140. I would have never thought that. I thought that company was destroyed a couple of years ago. I guess they're coming back from the dead. Shows you how cyclical markets are. Really remarkable. Okay, you got it, Brandon. GM. If we're on the car space, why not? What's amazing about these and the automotive, the airline companies, just remembering from the 90s and the 2000s, the bailouts. You know, GM going bankrupt, they had to save it. Daily, okay. Deep crab down there. But, you know, within a 10-15% range for a year. Not a heck of a lot. Why not? I think Ford had something. Didn't Ford on a monthly, I think. Let me see here. Oh, I do recall this. Yeah, Ford on a monthly at the COVID low was a type 2. Perfectly. So those with the software, you want to look at some fun relationships, go scan monthly long-term charts like that. Looking for the type 2s. Happens frequently. That's pretty nice, and you're actually oversold at the moment coming off of that. Nothing spectacular there, though. I mean, not really. Not at this point. What's up? Hey, what's going on, Bulgaria? I can't pronounce your name, so. But Tilray on the monthly, I don't think so. I know what you're saying. I'm not touching. I got burned, mega burned about 2 years ago on those stocks, thinking that was the new deal. Yeah. Caught the early move and held on way too long for a lot of those. Caught a big chunk of that cannabis move and then came off, and I held on too long and dumped the rest. Haven't touched it since. And I wouldn't. I mean, look at that. That's a terrible chart. There's a zillion charts better looking than that, and I don't even think that matters what sector or industry that's in. I just think there's better movers, better players. Lots of things better than that to you know, than that to pain yourself with. Yeah, burned. Now, burned not so as badly as burned as you would think. I burned in terms I gave a lot of the profit back. I had a lot of call positions. I went super long on a lot of those stocks and did not secure enough profit early on and then sat my butt on them. Hey, I thought Joe Biden and the Democrats controlling everything, of course they're going to make it legal. Wrong. We saw how that worked out. And I just, like I said, sat on it too long. Really quick, let me just show gold and crude oil because we haven't touched that in a while. Gold futures. Still looking for that pullback to 1880 area or 1830, sorry. That's on track. I like that. Nothing changes. A lot of people ask me about gold. It's such a slow mover, but quite harmonic. 1833 has been the target really since May. And it's been a while since we talked about it. And we're just in that slow slug type 1 shark correction. Crude oil, same deal. A lot of news, little movement. Let me get light sweet crude. CL. We do have one or two long positions. Here we go. Let's get the right chart. There you go. Amazing that has held in. A few patterns down here. 65 to 73 is our range. I wouldn't really even enter anything new until we have another test under 70. Not much to report. Now there's your weekly. And it's a big pattern. Light sweet crude. The primary crude markets. There's Brent. There's West Texas. Okay, light sweet. It's probably one of the, I think, the highest quality of crude levels. And it's pretty more or less your baseline. I mean, West Texas is going to be cheaper because it's more abundant here, at least in the United States. But around 70. Where can this go? Well, don't expect much until we can either get some momentum to the upside. That's your weekly chart. So if that's a 3-bar breakout or if it's something kind of continuation where we can get HSI and amplified to get into the above the 50 zones for some movement, I still say your best hope is still only $89, $90. And I'm waiting for things like Marathon Oil to finally do a retest on these daily patterns. Looks like it's starting to turn down today. And we've mentioned this before. This is a lot like Cardano and some other crypto where the slow type 2 came in 1930. On that one, ConocoPhillips is another one. So these are ugly charts longer term, but you do have patterns down here looking like they want to run to these targets. No, sorry, it was Valero. And I look, I like these. I like them a lot, just at lower levels. There's your daily. Yep, good one. Valero going in for the type 2. Actually, we hit type 1, rejected. Look for that back to 106, maybe 97, as low as 97. But that would be the ideal type 2 for a lot of these. Final one, XLE. Same deal. Needs the type 2. And that's minimum 75. You're 78 at the moment. Yeah, all the arrows are the same. Driven that I drew a couple weeks ago. Come on down. One more time. Don't be surprised to see that come off a little bit in the next couple of weeks and then click it. Same with gold. And it's seasonal. What's going on, chat? A couple more people coming in. Cosmic Clearance. I thought you were going to say Cosmic Charlie. Frankie, Lifestyle. Yashar. Hey, how are you doing? Brandon, Jeffrey. Dulav. I hope I pronounced that properly. Victoria, what's going on? Victoria wants to look at WULF. What about WOLF? Because Wolf took off. TerraWolf, a low floater. It's a shark. Not really crazy about that. Yeah. Unless you got something on the weekly for me. Yeah, I'm not really, listen, these low floaters. Oh, how about we get out of there? The low floaters are, that's okay, but I prefer, let's just change the U to an O. And again, this is working with harmonic pattern collection here. This is the kind of stuff we're looking for. You know, there's a type 2, Wolf Speed. Had a big day yesterday and they slammed it back down. I still say this is a great type 2. Just starting to set up. I would prefer that over your WULF. Just a better opportunity, more volume. Man, you guys are just, if I go away for a week or so, then you're nonstop. Okay, CJ, Bill. Bill Holdings, not a lot down there. You're a bit overbought. What about the daily? Yeah, look, there's your patterns. Bill had some patterns down here. I'm not, maybe you come back down, but that's all the way back around 80. That's all right. Here's something in the W's that I'm lining up. So I mentioned this before. This was a type 1. Now we're in a type 2 on Warner Brothers Discovery. It's a big crab. Okay. With now a type 2 shark. A couple yellow dots, another HSI oversold. So now let's just focus in on the shark because it's a perfect type 2. When I talked about this, it was about a month ago. It was a 3 ideas. You know, 1130 to 14 first move. Now we're here, retest. Come on back down for your type 2 to go to 1580. That's a better scenario. Few more. Let's jump to crypto. I think we got to do it. Bring these other new ideas next week, okay? And I think eventually I'll do it some kind of tip jar or something. Right, Dustin? I got to. Let's get into crypto. Let's just jump right over to Bitcoin. Let's do our top 5. It's a shark. Don't need to fight that. It's a bearish shark at the moment. Yellow dot checked back today, 31,321. Basically 31,000. And that continues to be a fair resistance target and come back down. So 28 is support, 31 is resistance. That doesn't change. Listen, the whole thing, the whole scenario for next year, for the halving cycle, whatever, we're now looking for a pullback to be the final correction before the launch phase. And it could be something like that. This is a 5-0. This would become a 5-0 after the shark. You get your type 1 reaction and then you go. And you look at the bearish patterns too. Now you've got 2 bearish patterns coming off the low. Reaction and go. Reaction and fail, come on back down and then go again. So 30,000 now. You come back to 28,000. That's really not a heck of a lot. Not worried about it. I'm now focused on above 32. It's the only, that's the only point. If you want to see it go into a different character phase than this slow, steady grind, you want to see acceleration to the upside, it's a close above the hop level at 31,950. Call it 32,000 because 32,000, 3201, that gets you to 34 or 37. Let's get the spot here. It's better. 37,000. So for now, we'll squeeze between 31 and 28. And if we're down at 28, don't be surprised. I would be looking for opportunities under 28 or at 28 for the next leg higher. Matthew's saying, does 50 also have a PRZ? Well, the 50 PRZ, the shark frequently morphs into the 50. And that's how I'd be thinking about it. That also is the first target. So when you get that scenario and comes together like that, the 50, 50%, not a 382, is what you're looking for. That's the difference. So that would be a 50, and we'll see what happens when we get down there. Like I said, 28,000. Would love to get an oversold corrective confirmation and then go from there, because the reaction would be it for the pattern, and then you go to the retest and blow it out is typically how you can see larger moves accelerate. I hear you, Pete. Okay, I'll come back to that after I wrap up our crypto top 5. I'll look at that AG. I know it's there too. Ethereum. Oh, let's get the Ethereum. Not that. Same deal. Couple yellow dots. Actually, Ethereum's not as nice as Bitcoin. No doubt. Because Ethereum doesn't have even the shark up there. But it doesn't change. 1800, 1700, 2000. That's the outlook for those. It's just not that interesting, even on a harmonic basis. Couple more. Number 3, is still Binance Coin, or although might want to change that up, but here's Binance Coin. I said this before, it has to hold 220. It has a crab pattern down there, but it's still running into that counter trend HSI. So I think there's better crypto than Binance Coin. I mean, give me something, do something here. Kind of lackluster price action in light of the positivity. Number 4, I guess we can say Cardano. Is this somewhere? Is this something to long? Is this a long position for Cardano coming up? Are we at a critical type 2 terminal point? Not yet. We've got counter HSI right there. So let's be patient on Cardano, but I'm watching it closely. I wouldn't be surprised to have it come back to 25 cents. But if this larger zone is to be the type 2, reminded of Ethereum. Okay, really think about Ethereum back here as the same type of example. I'm going to watch it. If I'm longing it, I want to be under 28 cents. We were earlier this morning, 27.80. I think that's a really interesting type 2 situation. So more importance now on Cardano than I have in 2 years probably. Meanwhile, XRP is right back at that 45.5 area. There's 40. Come on, XRP. Yep. Couple of HSI signals here. Nothing really changes. I'm not, again, my enthusiasm has been about the same. 55 on the top side, 45 on the downside. and that's probably all you see. And it doesn't do much. It's really, it's not going to do anything unless they fire Gensler or some kind of major change happens. I still say there's plenty of time on that. You're going to be that's a next year position. No way you slice it. Any way you slice it. If you're looking for a major move off of that, it's going to be a long time. John's asking, do we short the yellow dot? I'm assuming that's on Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, look, your 31 area is probably safe resistance on Bitcoin to go and stay and not and just continue range bound marching as we've seen. We had a great week last week and into the end of June. No follow through. So I'm not surprised if that pulls back. And it's not much different than where we were back in mid-April. And we had a correction. Looked like it was going to explode through the moon to the moon. No. This is knocking on 30K for a while. I will point out, look, remarkably, Bitcoin Cash still wants to stay shy of 300, but it's floating up there, hasn't come straight back down yet, which with that kind of move, I thought Bitcoin Cash would at least give half of it back. I thought we'd be maybe back to 200 pretty soon. So I'm watching that. I'm watching some of those related vehicles. I think they're pretty interesting. And like I said, some of the other stocks are still doing as well. Bitcoin has weekly bearish divergence. You mean like this? Weekly. Bearish. Divergence, not really. It would show up on the amplified RSI. Maybe standard RSI, but I mean, I could bring that up in a minute, but not really. Not yet. I'm not expecting major things either way, but a 20% range, 15% range, high to low, would not be crazy. Do we use divergence at the PRZ zone or after the terminal bar? Yeah, you're definitely looking for that at or after the terminal bar for that kind of setup. It goes a long way to really helping you pinpoint where the reaction will happen. Couple more things that I find interesting in this space. I'm still not totally enthused. I'm encouraged is probably the word, but here's render on the daily. This is just printing patterns back to back. If I can get it to come up. There you go. There you go. Type 1. All right, here, like I said before, it's the type 2 I want to see. So coming in for a type 2. Take a look at, remember compound? This is something that I didn't catch it, but I pounded the table on it because it was so many patterns down here and it did a massive explosion, but I would consider that to be done. If this was going to be to the moon, we'd already be going through 75 or 80. So, but that setup alone with the back patterns and the confirmation got, we were looking at 33, 34. It went to 25 and then straight to 70. Is that crypto or what? But I'm still looking at compound. Think about Bitcoin Cash that popped off. If compound did a similar move, that would be 150. It would be up here. 140, 150. And that's possible because look at the range too. I mean, it's just amazing. Was 800, there's the low at 25 or 20, whatever, and you pop off to 150. It's not crazy, but I want to not get complacent on these, knowing that there's going to be more time. It's going to take more time. But I think the fact that Bitcoin Cash and Compound, to a lesser extent, the other one we talked about for a long time, Zcash, that's probably still in play there. Let's get a better one. Zcash. There you go. Come on. Why is it so slow? Man, it's normally not that slow. But there's Zcash. It's a type 2. Deep crab. Did it hit? Yeah, it hit the hop at 21.51. Was that the exact low? 21.70. Almost. Probably on some other exchanges it hit that hop. But that is a perfect type 2, and that reminds me of Cardano. This is exactly the kind of daily setup, or even weekly if it happened, that I want everyone to be looking for with longer term patterns going into the end of the year. We want 2 of 2s. We want confirmation. All right, because this is the area where we can develop something larger because it's confirmed the low. You had your reaction phase. You come back down for the reversal. We could consolidate for 30 days or even 30 weeks into next year. There's a weekly chart on Zcash. All the way back down to the all-time low. That's amazing. But I would start looking for those. And if they really get going, like I posted something about Bitcoin Cash and, saying, is this telling us something? All it means is I'm looking at it closely because, yes, if these start to fire up, we want to take notice of that. That's what should happen. We should see Bitcoin pop off. We should see some of these other coins really start to do things where you're just like, what? What is that doing? And then watch others follow. It's starting in kind of fits and starts, but not really following through just yet. So let's stay on it. Yeah, another one that's like that. I've mentioned this one. ICP, basically 550 to 450 are the big numbers. Where's the daily chart here? Get a good feed here. Because we have a couple big patterns here. Sorry. Completely crunched. There you go. Yeah, ICP is, the hop level was 433. And that's where you're under there now, right there. But you're looking for, and again, this is a big structural first step, but you want last December, whatever last year's low to hold, and this secondary low, gotta hold. What was that low? Looks like 322 versus 336. You need a low. You need with a lot of these that have been crushed, 90, 95, 99% even, you need a structural low to take shape now and then start the process. Those are for your the worst of the worst T coins have to do that. Couple of more. Yeah, I can look at those. Phantom, Algo. Algo was another disappointment, but it's crypto. Phantom looks like this. Big pattern. Big pattern generated. 2450, I think, is your key number, and maybe you come back down one more time there. Wouldn't surprise me. There it is. There's your long-term chart, folks. Probably early on that. Go on the daily. Under 25. 2450, something like that. Solana. Not as crazy about that one. That's a type 2 as well. Look. Come on, why is this so slow? Type the whole thing in there. Solana is still this crab pattern. I thought there was two. Yeah, okay, so it was off of the deep crab going into June. I would still look for a type 2. We want pattern confirmation. I wouldn't assume any major market move until the pattern can confirm itself. This is like Cardano. Come on back to 15 bucks. Then go. There's a bunch of these, but they do need to do the full retest. Boy, oh boy. We looked at that Kava last time, and there was nothing there. And just to prove it to you here. Wow, I don't know why that's so slow. Yeah, I'm not, nothing really there. They got that deep crab at 79 cents. Yeah. But no follow through. This is, come on back to 79 cents easily. You're at 95. Don't touch it. Not until it comes back down. On weekly time frame, it's fairly ugly. Not a heck of a lot there. IOTA. I haven't heard that one in a while. And I still don't think, yeah, these aren't going to move. That's a beautiful pattern. Thank you for bringing that up. And obviously you're doing your homework, and that's okay. I mean, look, that's great, and we're way to the left. You know, we haven't made any progress. This is a tough one to make. It's going to take a long time for that to make progress. I like it. I think that's the kind of pattern you want to look for. Ideally, I would prefer it if it was more like a type 2, where it was already there, hit the type 1, and then you were retesting. So you're super early. Think of it this way. You just formed a yellow dot last week. Nice spot. But you could be in that position 30 weeks. 30 weeks and still not do anything. So consider that, because that's possible. You go 30 weeks, you don't do anything, and you're sitting there. Yeah, it could be a next year type of deal. That's a nice one, though. Yeah, look, the reaction, guys, that's a muted reaction. We've seen that. It is, hey, what's up, Red Nazar? It is. He's saying it's a muted reaction. It is. Hey, I got you guys locked in here. Let's give away a gold membership. First person to type in gold, GOLD. We'll give you a 30-day, and also that gets you to our gold, our options, our secondary options seminar later this month. So get there, join, become a gold member over here. Hit the basic members page. Ephraim, you win. Ephraim and anyone else that's a winner, you got to contact Miss Stephanie on the Discord. And where you catch the Discord link is on the basic members page on harmonictrader.com. It's number 4. And get there. Okay? And just click there. Sign up if you're not a member of Discord yet. And I'm going to give away a V3 towards the end here. I'm going to wrap up. We've been going a long time. Not a heck of a lot in the markets today. We really even haven't moved much since we started today's session. You know, recovering from the morning drop. Okay, not a biggie. Again, everything really gets going next week. Microsoft up 4 now. Looks like that's going to keep moving. The rest of them, all right, I'm looking for pullbacks. Couple more. One or two other things. I think we should look at the total crypto market cap, because that's important to note really from a broader perspective, where you're going to have a problem and where you're going to have possibility of something larger taking shape. So 1.1 trillion, essential. That's where we've hung in there for, I don't know, better part of the last 18 months, right almost in the middle of that, slightly to the top range of the last 18 months, but that's a critical level. You want to stay above a trillion. 1.1. There's the daily. A lot of patterns like Bitcoin as well. Okay, Bitcoin had this, much like Bitcoin, has a deep crab. You could get to 1.6 if we break out and do a larger move. We got to get above 1.3 to do so. So be aware of that. That's kind of why the larger time frame is still just going sideways. The other index, total 3, which is basically everything without Bitcoin and Ethereum. Remember, ever since that daily bat pattern, it was a perfect type 2. We came off and we're right back in to this larger crab zone. You got to break. You need to do some work. And these are your T coins. This is the likes of Cardano and even worse. So until that can do progress, the broader, crypto resurgence recovery can't begin. Can't begin yet. Total and total 3. Those are the ones you want to pay close attention to for the obvious reasons. All right. I'm going to give away a volume 3 book. First person to type in V3, you will win a volume 3 book. And it's been a while since I've given that away. And finally, gold. How about one more gold membership so that you guys can attend the options seminar? We'll get into some more on Tuesday. And I think we're going to get further along here, but we got to break through. We just understand you're going to need to do work. Drums for Dave's. I like that. You win the volume 3. You need to send your address to Miss Stephanie. And who's going to get the gold? Who's going to get the gold? Constantine. Hey, Constantine, you won before, my man. I'm sorry. If you guys won in the last 3 months, please, limit 1 per person. So I'm going to give it to Alpha TA because I know you're relatively new and I know you haven't won before. Constantine, just contact me, please, on the Discord anyway. Send me a note. I'll follow up with you. All right. We'll do some more next Thursday. Okay. Just take this time. Take this time because I think starting next week, we're actually going to really want to jump into it and be super full time going into about mid-August and then reassess. That goes mostly for stocks, but crypto too. Let's look for these pop-offs in crypto. All right? Until Tuesday, folks, have a great weekend. As always, go get them. We'll catch you next time. All the winners, get on the Discord. Everybody else, jump out to harmonictrader.com. Become a basic member. Get with all the materials there. If you have any questions, jump over to the Discord. All right? Until then, next week, have a great one. We'll see you next time.